right, we are live. I am joined by Jason Mizer here. Jason is an independent author from California and the creator of the sci fi comedy series Space Cheese. He's drawing inspiration from Douglas Adams, Terry Pratchett, Monty Python, and classic science fiction comedies. He writes stories filled with adventure, absurdity, and characters who are usually making the worst possible decision at exactly the wrong time. When not writing novels, Jason also creates cover art for fellow independent authors and can often be found exploring virtual worlds or spending time with his family. So, Jason, welcome. I am
Thank you. Thank you very
happy
much.
to talk to you.
Yes.
So, we're here to talk about Space Cheese 2, so the
Yes.
second in your comedy series here. And with that, I'd love to give you a chance to pitch that to the world.
So Space Cheese 2. Oh my! The search for crackers. So obviously, it's already immediately a pun on the search for Spock. So if you wanted to know that, so it's really a sci-fi comedy and a sequel to the original Space Cheese. Um, it 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 starts off immediately from the get go. It's where the basically a crew of lovable space pirates accidentally stole the last goat in the last book. In this adventure, it's the same silly crew that's stumbling through. They stumble into a cosmic core known as Space Cthulhu, which is a spin off of the classic Cthulhu monster. A giant robot appears. Crackers are a big no-no in this universe for some strange reason, and they have no idea why. But what follows is a fast-paced mix of space opera, absurd comedy, a lot of parody and pop culture riffs inspired by everything from Star Wars to Star Trek, Transformers, Red Dwarf, and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. At its heart, it's not just about laughing at the universe, it's about ordinary people being stupidly brave when things go completely off the rails. It's full of laughs 1 minute and then full of heart the next. So if you enjoy Spaceballs, Douglas Adams, Terry Pratchett, Transformers, or any science fiction that refuses to take itself seriously when absolutely necessary, this book is for you. It's a huge nod to all that is sci-fi, everything that I grew up with, and mashed together to make you laugh.
I love it. All right. So I know that you have some other books that you were writing like psychological thrillers before this,
Yes.
if I do
Mhm.
recall. So
Yep.
what was the inspiration to jump to comedy or try your hand at comedy here?
So I wrote two psychological thrillers first, The Animal in Us and Tiger Island. And after that, my brain just kind of needed a salad, so to speak, something completely different to cleanse the palate. And once I started writing the characters and just making it as silly as possible, I just fell in love with it. I absolutely adore the characters, and because I write by the seat of my pants, I'm just kind of following along, and I and when I felt that connection with Space Cheese 1, I just had to dive into Space Cheese 2.
So I mean that's a lot of fun. So essentially, so was it a matter of like just that the psychological thriller it felt heavy, like you just needed like I'm curious to know a little bit more about like what is the cleanse there or the mental.
I think I needed something not so serious, and I needed something completely to laugh at.
Yeah.
And and I firmly believe that laughter is some serious medicine. And I also thought, honestly, I hardly ever see any comedy books, that truly take off. And I was thinking, man, because I grew up with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Terry Pratchett stuff, and so it just felt like somewhere I needed to go.
Yeah, that is interesting because now that you say that, I would say, yeah, more modern. I haven't really seen much in the way of comedies
Yeah,
in literature at all, like as a
right.
genre.
And the funny thing is, to me, laughter is a universal language.
Hmm.
Everyone from across the globe needs a laugh, and I just and if anything can bridge gaps, it's laughing at stuff. You know.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And it's nice to see somebody trying to serve to that underserved niche, if you will,
Yeah.
because it is something that I do think is it's sometimes it's fun to just have fun.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Hmm.
All right. So did your family or friends call you, are you the funny guy? Or was it surprising that you could find the humor?
Oh no, I'm always the goofball of the house, and two of my girls definitely follow me after that. No, but uh, they actually learned a new word because especially when I was writing the first one, I'd just be down here busting up laughing, writing out a scene, and so they learned the word guffaw and what
Mm.
that was because I'd just be busting up laughing, which is always fun.
So tell me about the process of writing a comedy book. Was this more of like a like do you plan the joke like you're talking about being down there writing and laughing. So how does the story develop?
I'm I'm I feel like I'm a weird writer because I completely pants a lot of stuff. Um, I'll start with a scene, and I knew the only thing that I knew when I first started writing was the name of the captain of the naughty neighbor, Dodge Sterling, and then everything just flows after that. And so I don't plan the jokes. They just come to me, honestly. I grew up with the Three Stooges and all the great comedies, Airplane, Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs, and so I I I I think I don't want to say I'm a natural comedian, but it's definitely within my blood.
So what has it been like to get, have you had good reception to Space Cheese and the
I
first
get
one?
better reception to Space Cheese than I do to my previous two books. In fact, when I've gone to some conventions,
Hmm.
uh, people will see my signage up, and one of them will be Space Cheese, and I'll invariably hear people just saying Space Cheese, in a laughing sort of way, and then I actually was able to pull two completely different people in with that after hearing them say that, and I said, wait, hold on a sec. If you need a laugh, please come over this way because I have Space Cheese for you. So it when it catches, it really catches, which is I think it's awesome.
That's interesting because I've heard that like the thriller genre is one of the top ones right now. But again, I think it speaks to that idea of the underserved
Hmm.
community. Like I think especially in a convention setting, I would imagine a lot of those people grew up with Spaceballs and like that
Right.
they
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
that is their pop culture and it's fun for them and they have nostalgia for that. So that's a very like a strong comp there to like
Right.
be like this, like come on, check this out. So do you find that this particular story is it more are you drawing more men versus women? Like who's your audience that seems to be drawn to it?
I, I thought for sure it would be men, but actually I've had a number of even at the convention, the one lady with her boyfriend, she came up and she literally bought everything that I had there because I pulled her in with space cheese. So yeah, it's like I said before. I think laughter is just a universal language, and some people just they recognize that and say, "Hey, let's do it."
True. Again, we all need everything's so serious now.
It is, yeah. And the funny thing is, I can definitely totally be serious. I wrote two, but my first book was very serious. A lot of really big, heady, themes in them. But I can totally do the opposite too.
So, what got you writing in the first place?
I've written for ever since I was probably 13. I call myself a creative because I've pretty much done all types of art, from drawing, straight out of D&D manuals.
I see the guitars behind you.
Yeah, and that I play guitar, a little bit of piano. I'm just a creative, but I've written for a very long time. But when I started working for the California DOJ, I just I left a lot of it behind, and it kind of killed me on the inside a little bit. And then when I finally retired from the state, I decided, you know what? I denied this part of myself for too long, and I dove straight into an old manuscript that I've been working on for years, and I just plowed through it when I decided I'm doing this, and then here I am. Now I have 4 books published.
That's awesome. And so it was essentially retirement opened you up to having the opportunity to really pour yourself into this as a new adventure. And I think that's great. And it's a testament to the folks that are out there with an idea in your head. You're not too old to start, guys. Like you can do this.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. I think it's really cool because it kind of inspired my own daughter, my middle daughter, Isla, to publish her own book. Actually, last year, because I had to do daddy daycare during summer break, and all of my girls had their own project, and Isla's was to write a 5,000 word story. She literally turned it into a 26,000 word book, which is now an Amazon food fight, and she's doing it again this summer.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I love the inspiration. I love that writing and doing like the publishing and stuff can be an inspiration, especially for younger people that apparently aren't reading very much. So to see somebody want to take it on of a younger persuasion, I think that's a phenomenal thing to see.
Definitely.
All right. So you mentioned that you were pretty much a pantser, so that you're how do you start with an idea? So we know that you wanted to change it up and maybe thought comedy would be the way to go, but like where do you start your process?
For the longest time, I always did really, really short scenes, and I didn't think I had it in me to write an actual full-length book, because I would like start write a scene, right when something big was happening, and so that's how I kind of trained myself to come up with what was going to happen. But I don't know. I just I'm one of those people that sees everything going on in my head, and so I feel like I'm just tagging along, watching the crew of the Naughty Knot, or doing whatever that they're doing. I would definitely say I'm probably a bit odd, but I think it works for me, honestly. I have a kind of an idea of an ending, and then I kind of throw them out there, the characters, and let them kind of decide, how they get there, bumps and all. So sometimes I will intentionally throw a bump, but a lot of it is it's just stream of conscious. It's weird.
And do you have like a designated writing time you sit down and just focus on this, or how are you disciplined about this?
It used to be early in the morning. First thing I would get up and come down with a big cup of coffee and just start banging out words. But with the girls and life and dinner and all that type of stuff, it's now whenever I can sit down.
Yeah.
So I'll be here a lot of times, let's say at 8 a.m., starting to do something creative. But then a lot of times I'll end up being up until midnight, because I just have this motion picture going in my head that needs to get put down. So I'm all over the place.
Sometimes it's hard to sleep when the idea strikes.
It is, yeah. and then there's always the thing, you don't want to lose it, because if you fall asleep, it's gonna be gone.
Oh yeah. I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So I know that you mentioned going to live events. I know that that's a way that I've tried to reach out and make sales. Did you just recently start doing that? How long have you been doing that?
Let's see. I think I've done it for 2 years now. So my brother-in-law, he's one of those people that buys old toys off of eBay, etc. And old Star Wars figures, etc., or a signed copy of Thor's hammer from the movies. He has a real eclectic mix. It's really cool. But he let me have a small little corner, I think 2 years ago now, and at the Sacramento convention. It was a Comic-Con, and I actually did pretty well for thinking, I might not sell anything. And but that crowd I think they're eager for different things. That they have a wide variety of interests. And so ever since then, I've tried to make it a mission to do that as much as possible. And now I think it's crucial for us indies, especially to get out there and do that, because I think just doing social media alone is not enough. And frankly, I don't want to start that way. I'd prefer to get out there and sell directly to people. It was fun. It's really fun. And the funny thing, and I wrote a journal on this on my own website, it's the best way to figure out what your book is about. When someone walks up to you, and you have your display of all your books there, that's when you really figure out, okay, how do I sell this? What's it really about? And then you learn straight away. Okay, that connects. That didn't connect. Say that.
There's a lot of truth to that. I was at an event, and I realized that 2 of my books, or the 2 I have a good pitch for, and the third one I can't figure it out. I can't figure out what the right thing is to get people in. So it's tough. It can be tough, but
yeah.
But it is instant feedback, at least. Like, it's not landing. It's like, all right, well, clearly whatever I'm doing is not not doing it.
Straight away. That didn't work.
It's like A/B testing on the marketing, like which
Yeah,
email do I
yeah,
send,
exactly. Yep.
but
Mhm.
in live time. Awesome. So I guess I'm interested. You mentioned that you'd been writing since you were, a young guy.
Mhm.
Was it mostly you mentioned a thing about like you'd get a scene in your head and you'd want to trained yourself that way. So I'm curious as far as like what is this, you're no longer 13, so what
No,
does the
no.
writing look like prior to publishing novels, Was it just short stories, just scenes? Was it poetry? I'm curious what you were doing.
So yeah, no, it was mostly like D&D type stuff. Um, yeah, I have old manuscripts, are, buried away, and yeah, it's mostly D&D type stuff because way back when, we'd be playing D&D till 3 a.m. in the morning, and I grew up with it, and so that was always the outlet.
So were you writing like, you're writing the backstory of your characters, or my husband actually writes out his like campaigns.
Oh no, yeah, I would do that too, actually. No, yeah, because I would be the DM a lot, so I would actually write out, an event, that's supposed to happen to the characters. But for actual writing, it was short stories of someone being kidnapped by an orc, and how they escape. Or I remember, I distinctly remember after reading The Hobbit, I started writing something like a ghost under the mountain or something like that. Um, yeah, it's always been fantasy inspired.
So is that your, I'm curious as far as like, do you have much time for reading yourself, and then what are you drawn to as a reader?
I wish I did. I mean, the thing is, when I was growing up, you couldn't get me away from books. So I mean, all the Dragonland stuff, and then I started getting into horror. Then I shifted away from horror to all the Star Wars novels, and then I actually switched completely from science, or from fiction to nonfiction. So I read a ton of history books, and then somewhat at some point I stopped reading that much. But I definitely still read. It's hard to find the time now, I think. But because I've read so much in my past, I kind of feel there's a balance there.
Yeah. Well, sounds like you were a voracious reader.
Oh, I was. Yeah,
Yeah.
like my daughter, my middle daughter Isla, who's published. You can't. You try and take a book from her, she'll just start screaming, "Hey, give me my book!" I
I want
mean,
that book back.
she goes to the library, and she'll bring back 5 or 6 books easily, and she'll just consume them, just like me when I was a kid.
It's great. Success.
Yes, exactly.
We need readers.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun. So sounds like you were something of a nerd,
Yes.
playing Dungeon
Mhm.
Master and all sorts of stuff there.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, so, I mean, I see the guitars in the background. You mentioned that you played that in the keyboard. So what is the extent of that dabbling?
Oh, music. My dad had an guitar laying around forever when I was a kid, and every once I would just pick it up and just just trying to goof off on it. And then but one of his friends, he could seriously play, and I just fell in love with it. So I've always just kind of dabbled here and there. sometimes I'll set it aside for a couple months and then I'll pick it back up. And I've always been, um, learning a song here or song there, or something, or trying to figure out, okay, how how do you get that rhythm on the piano just right? Or sometimes, because I create videos as well for a lot of my books, just little videos, and I'll actually get creative and hammer out different things that goes along with it. That's always fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting the creative thing. I know you did the cover for you mentioned in your bio that you work on the covers, and I know that you did the Tiger
Yes.
Island cover. I'm assuming, did you do these covers as well?
Yeah, no, I do all my own covers.
Okay. So, I mean, tell me about that, like the creative outlet of including art. And
Oh, geez, man. Like I said, I first started it. It probably all started from Dungeons and Dragons. When I got that first monster manual, I would just go to town, trying to copy it, on my pencil and paper. But I I've done pencil and paper, pen and ink, regular oil, all types of different painting. I've done puppetry. I've done 3D animation, cell hand drawing animation. I've done it all, and it's one of the reasons when someone asks me what who I am, I just say creative, because it just fits. Because I love it all, and I kind of, how would you say it? I'm not a master of all of them, but I know enough to pull it off pretty well.
A dabbler in all, master in none. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing to be. I tend to be like the person that knows at least a little bit about most things.
Yeah. But when it comes to my I don't want to. When it comes to my art, like when I'm doing, my cover art or someone else's cover art, I'm deadly serious about it, too. I try and do the best job that I can. The one client I just had, I he was really happy, with the final product. So yeah, I definitely take the art side of it seriously, because you want to be professional, about a lot of stuff.
100%. I'm gonna, just because I have it and I think it is pretty cool. Let me pop open our cover for this, because I think that's cool. It's a cool. Like, I love it's a very thumbnailable image. Like the text is very bold, and I like the cheese and the cute.
Yeah. So for the first Space Cheese, it was completely Illustrator, a flat image. But this one, I kind of wanted just a mixture of the two. So I got out a piece of cheese and just started kind of going painterly with it. And then, because there's Space Thulu involved, I figured, let's blend the two, because turn it into a bit of illustration plus painting. And that was really fun to make, actually.
Yeah, like how he's kind of biting the cheese there.
Right. And his expression on his face, like,
I mean, it definitely tells me this is going to be a good time, kind of an image.
Yeah,
like, there's no doubt about it.
Right.
What you're getting into. But yeah, that's cool. So as far as Space Cheese goes, where do you think you're heading after this? So this is the second one. Is it going to be a trilogy, or
There
are
will
you
be a trilogy,
all right?
but I do want to get so because I'll kind of how I work is if something's not grabbing me at the moment, I'll jump to a different project. So
Mhm.
so for a while I was kind of bouncing back and forth between Space Cheese 2 and a short story compendium of the apocalypse. And at first it was going to be quirky, funny, but then I started writing it and it started turning out to be serious. And the more I thought about it, the more it felt like it wanted to be all the small moments that happened just before the animal in us.
Mhm.
Because in my first book, the animal in us, everything blows up, but no one knows why. So this the next thing that I'm doing is short stories of a bunch of different people. Some of them probably are going to end up being people in the animal in us of what they saw in those last few months, what they experienced, if they made it or if they didn't.
Hmm.
So it's going to be I think it'll be interesting because everyone handles stress like that quite differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be very interesting because you're going to see people at their end, because they know the end is, even though they don't understand what it is. It's going to be interesting. There's a couple of them that really hit me.
So now you're going back to the more emotional stuff.
Yes.
Like deeper.
Yes. It's funny because I grew up with the original Twilight Zone,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always loved just the bit of the unknown, but it's still a struggle with humanity. It's like the original Star Trek.
Yep.
They were out in space and it was fantastical, but at the end of the day, it was always about what man did to man, type of thing. And so that's always been a theme in the different creative things that I try to do.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Like I like that. I'm a psych major in another life here, so I'm always drawn to this idea of like how do people react to things, like
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I like the idea that you're kind of exploring, how people handle something like very difficult or like the end,
Right.
or
something just beyond them.
Yeah.
But very personal too.
So you have different, you mentioned that when you're at an event, you ruled somebody on with Space Cheese and you were able to sell them on your full table. Do you find that you're working with two separate audiences, or do you find that there's broad appeal across the line there?
There is broad appeal because a number of people bought all three of my books, just right then and there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's definitely a broad appeal. Some people don't. It's weird. And I always think, what's going on with this person when they don't want to laugh or they don't want to think deeper, because there definitely were people. No, I don't care for Spaceballs type stuff.
Yeah.
Or it was the complete opposite. No, that's way too dark for me.
Yeah,
ahead.
You can go ahead.
But I was going to say there's definitely a crossover. You just, especially in the moment, you kind of see right away. Okay, this person could definitely enjoy, something deeper, or they want a good laugh.
Yeah, I've been pondering the idea because I know that there's some advice, like if you're changing genres, like use a pen name or something, like to separate them out, because like people, but I don't know how I feel about that idea. Like I'm thinking of like, okay, if I wanted to offer more at my table, like, and write something different, like I don't know, like some of it's like I would like to hand somebody the, if they want a thriller, and here's
Right.
the thriller, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and I have that available and it's tied to my name. And if they like my writing, maybe they would try something else that I wrote in a different, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
No,
I know that advice is out there.
No, I kind of believe that too. I used to think that because I don't know, I'm older, and so I'm of the age where I like my anonymity, so to speak. I grew up before all the social media, and so I definitely have that. Yeah, I want to be anonymous type streak in me, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm not afraid of being me.
Yeah.
And I am who I am, and that's it. If I think the only possible reason would be if the genres were diametrically opposed, like extremely spicy stuff, and then kids books, something like that. That it makes sense that way.
Yeah, I can understand that too. All right, so I would love are you interested in reading a little bit from the book?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. So should I give a little context?
Absolutely.
All right. So
set the stage.
So this was a scene. So the crew went out into space. They saw this giant thing, and then they rushed back to tell everyone what they saw. And unfortunately, everyone there already knows about it, but it's hush hush. So this is where we're at. All right. Thank you for joining the debriefing, Princess Eye said to Dodge, Timmy, Patch, and Roxy as they entered the room somewhere tucked away in one of the 1,000 offices at Greeley Station. Doug, would you start the recording? You got it, boss, Doug said eagerly. Recording, Dodge said, wary of anything or anyone being debriefed. Why are we recording? Princess Eyes just held up her hand to Dodge, placed a fancy clipboard on the old metal desk, and said, just procedure. She looked at Doug. We rolling? Doug just gave a thumbs up and sat down near the back of the room at one lone metal chair near the door. Sit, please, she said to everyone. I'm not in a sitting mood, Dodge said. Neither am I, Roxy said as she looked around the stark white plain box of a room with only one exit. Princess Eyes, it's us. What are we doing? What are you doing? I'm doing bureaucracy because someone has to, she said, her translucent skin showing off her brain firing signals in all directions. Oh boy, we're going to be here all day, and I have peanuts to attend to. All day, Timmy whined. I told Pookie I was going to pick up some power converters. Look, you can waste time with your friends when we're done. I'm telling Pookie you said that, Timmy threatened. Oh, I'm scared, Princess Eyes said, pretending to quake with fear. Look, Dodge said, if I sit, can we all stop bickering? Doug sat, watching it all. He always wanted to do bureaucracy himself. Bit of a useless nitwit. Dodge waved his hand at everyone and commanded them, sit! And they all sat, although Roxy piped up and said, Ubu, sit! Which made Patch bark like a dog, which then made Timmy say, good boy. Problem solved, Dodge said, smiling at them all. Now, why are we being debriefed? Princess Eyes herself finally sat, laced her fingers together at the table, and smirked at them all. Because you saw the rest, she only mouthed, but it was the words Space Thulu, as if she were afraid to say it out loud. Dodge leaned close, puzzled look on his face. Did you just mouth Space Thulu? Bleep, bleep, bleep. An internal alarm rang loud enough for all of them to cover their ears. Princess Eyes just threw up her fancy clipboard, rolled her eyes, and slumped her head with a smirk. Doug just leaned close, ears covered tight, thinking, this bureaucracy is everything I've ever dreamed of. More! There we go.
I love it.
They had to be debriefed on what they couldn't say.
You're not supposed to say
more.
Great.
Some people really love bureaucracy.
You know, I have met those people.
Yep.
Procedures. Give me all the papers. Well, that was fun.
Yes.
I love the good dynamic between the characters there, and I can appreciate trying to run a meeting when
when everything's
it's
just
a little goofy.
they're just trying to be normal, and this bureaucrat is trying to do bureaucracy while they're misbehaving. It's fun. I often what's the Firefly?
Mm-hmm.
They had a particular banter about them, that's just it was so natural. They just shot off one another, easily, and it felt real. And that I always kind of lean towards that type of dialogue, that people play off each other's energies. And so I tried very hard to instill that in my writing, just natural dialogue.
I would say it came through. Yeah.
Yay!
All right, Jason. So what is next for you? And then where can people find you and your books?
You mean, excuse me, you mean the next book that I'm doing? Or
so you mentioned that you were doing the short story thing, I believe.
Right.
So is that the current project that you're thinking of focusing on next?
So it's going to be the short story plus I'm working on another client's cover art as well. So I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between doing cover art for a client, and then cover art for this short story and the short story. So a lot of bouncing back and forth.
Busy.
Yep.
Awesome. And where can people find you and your books?
So my website is jwmizerwrites.com. You can find all of my books there. And I do have relic copies of my book, which are basically, I learned how to hand bind my own books, which turned into really cool, kind of like they're almost like art pieces in a way, because every single one is different. And so that's where you can find my books, is at my website, jwmizerwrites.com. I'm also on Twitter or X. I'm on Threads as well. Instagram. I haven't done Facebook yet. But that's where you can find all of my books, besides Amazon. I just launched Space Cheese 2, obviously, today. So you can find it all there, both ebook. Yes, there you go.
Look at your website, because those are cool. You say something fun for the end here.
Yeah, those are really, especially Tiger Island, because I want them all to be, feel like old books, like they really, like they actually came from their own universe, so to speak.
Those are cool. And then you have
Yeah.
like, it looks like you have a little bit about like your process here.
Oh yeah. It shows how to do it a bit. Yeah, that was. I've always wanted to learn how to bind books, and I figure, now that I'm a published author, what a better time to try and figure out how to bind my own books.
Yeah. Well, that was fun. Now I have to figure out.
Yeah, so you can buy. Well, now that I'm on Kindle Unlimited, you can only buy the ebook through them, but you can buy signed copies of my books or the relicta versions directly from me. I'm all about selling direct to the people because less middlemen.
Yeah.
See.
No more bureaucracy. Yeah. Awesome. And I believe I know you're active on X.
Yes.
Mostly.
Definitely.
And then you mentioned you didn't have Facebook. Sorry, I missed the last part, so I'm going to make you say it again because I got distracted by the
Threads and Instagram.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, sir. Any last parting words that you have aside from buy Space Cheese and Space Cheese 2?
So right now, the original Space Cheese is on sale for only $1.99 over at Amazon. I'll have that going for probably a week. So that you could. So if you haven't read Space Cheese at all, you have an easy onboard, to go get book 1. And now that book 2 is out, you can purchase that as well as a set. And I have on my website, if you let me know that you bought both books, I have bonus content, a lost chapter, and character art of a lot of the characters.
Awesome.
And that's it. Go by and laugh. Please laugh.
Have fun, guys. Have fun. Check it out. Well, thank you, Jason, for talking to me this evening.
Thank you very much.
And I'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you very much.